Marketing in 2025 is wild. Savvy customers spot fake messaging instantly, privacy changes make ad targeting a nightmare, and everyone needs more content than ever. That's why you have to check out HubSpot's new marketing trends report. It doesn't just show you what's changing, it shows you exactly how to deal with it. Everything's backed by research, but focused on marketing plays you can use tomorrow. You ready to turn marketing hurdles into results? Go to clickhubspot.com/marketing to download it for free. All right, good morning, everybody. Today's Wednesday, April 9th. I'm John Weigell here with Mark Dent, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Boomers and Gen Xers often point to millennials and Gen Zers as flighty when it comes to work. The reputation of the younger workforce has been plainly to switch it up a lot, job hop, and change companies frequently. But is that exactly true? And if it is, what are the economic and social reasons behind changing jobs so frequently? We'll chat about that in a bit, but first, let's give you the news in business and tech. To start us off today, Amazon just unveiled Novasonic, a new generative AI model that can process voice and generate speech. Amazon called Novasonic, quote, the most cost-efficient AI voice model, which is 80% less expensive than OpenAI's ChatGPT 4o. Some upgrades from Alexa here, though. Novasonic is trained to speak at the correct time, avoid interrupting the user, and understand the user's intent even if they misspeak or mumble. So good news for me there, because I mumble all the time. Next, financial analysts are feeling the frenzy this week. More than 400 analyst notes included the word chaos in the week ending April 5th, according to AlphaSense, which is up from 203 the week before. So I look forward to more chaos coming soon. From there, we go to Shopify. Shopify's CEO, Toby Lutke, is all in on AI. He's so all in that he actually told employees that the company will not hire any new staff unless it's proven to him that AI can't do their job. AI skills are becoming way more common in the workplace. What do you think about this, Mark?
I mean, it's obviously incredibly depressing. I mean, that's the headline there, is that we know people like Toby Lutke are trying to replace as many workers as they can with AI, or, in this case, not fill positions that might be open otherwise. But, just a couple days ago in our Sunday newsletter for The Hustle, I had a story about using AI to role play as CEOs for ailing companies like Southwest, Starbucks, and Nike. And I mean, if we're being clear, like the CEO is probably the best position to be automated. I think that Toby Lutke should probably remove himself as CEO and automate himself, because CEOs, they just look at a bunch of facts and they make quick decisions. That's exactly what AI is good at. It would save Shopify something like $20 to $25 million a year is the total compensation for him. So yeah, I think he should be automated.
Yeah, well, maybe they should employ that new Mark Cuban chatbot to give you business advice instead. Maybe that would work. He's very successful, I hear. So, I mean, that could be an easy fix.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, this guy was saying, unless it's proven that AI can't do their job, can he please prove that AI can't do his job? I think he'd have a hard time.
I'd love to see it. From there, we go to Snapchat. Snapchat introduced sponsored AI lenses. It's a new advertising option for brands. The tool makes AI-generated images from selfies taken in the app. And Snap says brands like Uber and Tinder saw higher than average play times when using AI lenses compared to the app's standard lenses. And finally, over to Europe, GM is looking to reconnect with Europe. The company just revealed a new electric Corvette model designed at its brand new studio in England. GM is attempting to re-enter the EU market after selling its Opel European division to Stellantis back in 2017, but it seems they have come crawling back just in time for tariffs. Main story today. Millennials and Gen Zers are often branded as flaky in the workplace, the victims of the back in my day, we used to stay at the same company for 20 years trope over here. But Mark, was that really the way it was back in the day?
Not back in that day, I would say, not back in the day of the boomers, but maybe back in the day of like the greatest generation ever, or like silent gen. Sure, I think that was probably the case. But, Business Insider's Josie Cox had some really good reporting, just really zooming in on some BLS data and finding that millennials and Gen Zers really aren't switching jobs more often than Gen X or boomers. In fact, they're switching at a young age a little bit less than those two generations. And if you look at median job tenure, it's actually a little bit longer today than it was in the 1980s.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting stat because from the internet, from LinkedIn, from all these places, you keep hearing that millennials and Gen Zers just can't decide what they want to do. They only spend 1 to 2 years at a company. But this data shows that a lot of people in the 1980s were also flipping around pretty willy-nilly similarly. So the age seems to be the important part here, not necessarily the generation, because the generation of boomers, the generation of Gen X, Gen Z, whatever you name it, seem to all have some sort of change at around the age of 20, which makes complete sense to change your job in your early 20s a bunch. You still want to figure out where you want to work, what you want to do. So it seems like we have a lot more in common, all the generations, than we thought. And it's more of an age thing than it is a per generation thing.
Yeah, I've actually been doing a little bit of reporting on just the whole concept of generations and how they really don't make a lot of sense most of the time. Usually when people talk about generations, they are just comparing young people, not even just comparing young people, they're mainly just ragging on young people.
Sure.
And getting angry at them and saying, well, why are you switching jobs? But yes, everybody switched jobs when they were 21 years old. I mean, that's just how it's done. When I was talking about maybe it was true that the greatest generation ever and Silent Gen, those are people who were born in like the 1920s, 1930s, et cetera, that they did stay at jobs for much longer. We can't really know that statistic too well, at least, because the BLS started keeping track of this job tenure thing in like the 1980s.
Yeah.
But it was around the 1980s that everything changed when it came to employment. That's when layoffs became a lot more common. Mm-hmm. That's when companies essentially introduced what was known as the free agent model of employment, which is they would cut you because they know you could find another job. And therefore, employees reciprocated by saying, well, since you're not going to have any loyalty for me, I won't have loyalty for you. So that sort of dynamic has now existed for the better part of a half century.
Yeah. And I guess the notion now that young people flip jobs more frequently than they have ever had is statistically not exactly correct, but also there seems to be an emphasis on the things that are making it that way. There was also a report cited in this Business Insider article from Revelio Labs, and it found that a rise of side gigs, contract roles, flexible career paths, remote work, all of these things have kind of also made the turnover a lot quicker for Gen Zers and millennials in the workforce.
Yeah, those jobs, by definition, I mean, some of them are independent contractor roles. That is not a role that you can keep doing and get health insurance for until you're 65. The economy has shifted. And even with these shifts, let's keep in mind that these statistics are showing that Gen Zers and millennials are changing jobs a little bit less still, even when you consider all of these. And I think one other thing to keep in mind here as well are just the general economic climate. When millennials went into the workplace, at least for a lot of them, it was right during the time of the Great Recession. Right. And the quit rate, which is the percentage of total workers who leave their job in a given year, it was around 1.3%, which is really low because during a tough economic time, people don't want to leave their job. And so those are millennials coming of age in their 20s and not wanting to leave their job. The same is true right now with Gen Z. We're not in a recession yet, but it has been, it's been a vibe session and there have been some issues with the economy, to put it mildly, and now a stock market crash. And the quits rate over the last few months has been under 2%. It was around 1.92% earlier this year. So you're seeing those economic forces make people want to stay in their jobs, not leave them.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. And when it comes to the blame game, right? When it comes to blaming these generations for switching around so much, or these people for switching around so much, when the stats don't really back it up, why do you think they're still getting some blame?
I mean, I think it just has to go back to people blaming everything on young people. That's the number one reason. And this story in Business Insider pointed it out. There is also just a lot more just publicizing of when you leave a job, right?
Oh, sure.
You make some sort of announcement about it on Twitter or on Instagram or, TikTok. So people are just more cognizant of when people are leaving. I mean, there's LinkedIn posts for like when you decide to like finish a project, you write a post about it on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
People just are inundated with this stuff and they just think that everybody is leaving. Everybody's doing something new. But I bet you, to go back to the greatest generation ever, or to Silent Gen, when they were 25 years old in 1951 and leaving their job, their friends probably didn't even find out until weeks later, months later.
Probably not.
They may not even ever find out.
It doesn't strike me as something that they would talk about a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we talk about our stuff all the time. I get LinkedIn updates when colleagues of mine have changed their dog food.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You could put anything out there and people are really running with it. So yeah, that's the thing. It's a lot more visible. A lot more people see it. A lot more people see your career path on LinkedIn. You can't really see anybody's career path unless you have a resume typically. But now you go to their profile and you say like, oh, they spent 2 years here, 2 years here, a year there. And then, the thoughts start to form. But yeah, agreed. It does definitely just seem like a bit of a those damn young people kind of situation when in reality, it's kind of the opposite.
It's those damn people. It's all of us, all of them.
Exactly. All right, and that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in to the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of HubSpot Media. Our editor is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go sign up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at The Hustle Daily, and we will see you tomorrow. Hey, everybody. I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately. You know it. You love it. My First Million, hosted by Sam Parr and Sean Puri, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. My First Million features famous guests like Alex Hormozi, Sophia Amoruso, and Hassan Minaj, sharing their secrets on how they made their first $1 million and how to apply their learnings to capitalize on today's business trends and opportunities. Talk about somebody that's really in the now. They had on Mr. Beast recently, and Mr. Beast talked about his origin story and how he made his first $1 million and how you can make anything go viral if you really try to do it, which is a great listen. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. You can catch all the recent episodes whenever you want, and you can listen to My First Million wherever you get your podcasts.